Okay, so welcome back to my channel. This is going to be a quick recap of Insatiable Season 1, Episode 5, Bikinis and Bitches. Okay, so this is the next day after Patty basically destroyed Bob and Coralee's marriage. And so it's the morning, everyone is receiving a text. So everyone in the school has received this text. And so they open the text and it's an image of Dixie's vagina. Basically, Dixie in some compromising pose. And it appears that the text came from Patty's phone. And so now she's confused, and Choi and Nonnie is trying to figure out how this happened and who she can get to help her out. Okay, so Bob is getting ready for the day. At this point, he has no idea. He still doesn't know what's going, this conversation that Patty and Coralee had the night before. He goes downstairs. He sees the letter and the necklace. Coralee left the letter basically saying she knows about the affair, that she needs some time, and don't call me, I'll call you kind of situation. So now, of course, he knows where the necklace came from. So he makes a beeline to, so Magnolia and Dixie, they arrive at school. And so you find out that because Egina went to prison, for whatever reason, Barnard agreed to let Dixie stay with them. And she's annoying the shit out of Magnolia. Questions, just her high-pitched voice and just the questions and just a hot mess, right? And so Magnolia was basically, Dixie was like, well, we're like sisters. And Magnolia's like, well, no, we're not. Like, basically the only reason you're there is because my dad felt sorry for you. And she said, well, yeah, stop climbing in the bed with me. It's weird. And so Dixie was like, well, I'm not used to sleeping alone. And so Magnolia was like, okay, that's pathetic. And so Dixie like, you're pathetic. That's why your boyfriend was sleeping with an older woman. Oh, she made some comment like that. And of course, Magnolia stopped and turned around like, what are you talking about? How do you know that? Because it was my mom. And so she pushed past Dixie, almost knocked her ass down the steps. Brick was just getting to school. He was getting the stuff out of the car. Magnolia confronts him. She ends up kneeing him in the girl and basically like, don't ever talk to me again. That was that. So now Bob arrives at the school to confront Patty and basically asks her why she did that. And does she know what she's done to his life and his marriage? And like a child, she's a teenager. And, teenagers don't always get the consequences, ramifications of their actions. And so she's like, well, I was hurt because, she know how I felt, and she knows how my mom treated me, and she did the same thing, and this what made it hurt worse, and and I'm sorry, I didn't expect that you would get hurt as well. Again, teenage mind. And I'm really sorry. He's basically, obviously didn't want to hear. She tried to ask him to help her to kind of clear this stuff up with Miss Magic Jesus. He's like, bitch, you just destroyed my marriage. I don't give a damn about you or that pageant right now. And she was standing there like she just could not understand why. And I'm like, Patty is, girl, I don't know if this is going, Patty has some narcissistic tendencies. I mean, they all do, but for you to do what you did and then they still expect this man to help you, it just, girl, you got some problems. Well, we already knew you had problems, but you got problems. So while he was, finishing up his conversation with Patty, Brick walks up and basically he wants to know what's going on. Why did his mother leave? So I'm assuming she saw the note. Well, I don't know if he saw the note or because at this point he doesn't know about the affair. And she did mention the affair in the letter. So in the letter that she left for Bob. So he wants to know why the mom, what's going on with him and his mom. Bob was like, this is not a good time. We'll talk. This is not the time or the place. Of course, Brick got upset. Like, it never is. And so Bob Armstrong leaves and Patty follows Brick to try to find out what's going on. And so they talk and he tells her that, his father's always busy and, he never has time for him. He's never gone to any of his games. And like, he always, he's always wanted his father's approval, but he doesn't feel like, his father's there for him in the way that he should be. And so, Patty talked to him and you can see they're developing a relationship, a friendship. So we'll say that they're developing a friendship. And so, fast forward, Nonnie, and then Brick mentioned, they hug, and he mentioned something about her being gay. And again, because this photo was sent allegedly from Patty's phone, and they're trying to figure out, okay, why else would she have a picture of Dixie's vagina if she wasn't into women? And so, of course, Patty's like, what are you talking about? He said, oh, it's not a problem. You know, I have community service at the LGBTQ center. So it's, you know, it's all good. So she's sitting there looking confused, like, what? And so next you see Patty sitting next to her locker, and somebody has spray painted Buff Diver or something like that on her locker. And Nonnie walks up, and so they're having a conversation. And then Magnolia walks up, and I don't know if she, at this point, I can't remember if she knew that she was disqualified. And so at this point, Magnolia, she's just over the pageant stuff, and she's trying to work with Patty to get her back and being saved so she can participate in the pageant. Because she feels like if Patty beats her, then maybe the pageants won't be as so important to her father anymore, and she can stop doing them. And so they make plans to meet for lunch and to go over what she can do to get back into the Miss Magic Jesus pageant. So Bob is in his office. Of course, he's distracted because his marriage is falling apart. His relationship, he had this fight with his son. It's just a mess. And so there's a lady that's sitting across from him about her son. Her son was arrested for for possession. And she's trying to hire Bob to represent her son. And so so the son, Christian, mentioned that he's not a dealer. He was actually holding the drugs for Magnolia. And of course, that made Bob ears perk up, like, Magnolia Barnard? She does drugs? And so he eventually, the mom, he's like, yeah, I was just holding the drugs. I'm not a dealer, And he turns to his mom, like, can I just go to school now? So he leaves to go to school. And his mom basically lets him have it. Like, she's basically like, it's always a mess with him. He got people coming. He's not holding. He's a dealer. I know he's a dealer because I got people coming to my house all times of the day and night. They're only there for a short amount of time. It's all the signs. And of course, Bob Armstrong was like, well, why are you telling me all this? Because he's out of control, and I think that some jail time is going to do him good. And so he was like, so I want you to throw the case. And she was like, well, that's unethical. I can't do that. She was like, well, you don't have a reputation to speak of. Your career's in the toilet, and basically Coralee said that you would be willing to help me. And so Coralee basically sent her to him for that particular reason, because I guess she feels like if he's willing to compromise his ethics and his career for her, then that's going to show her that he cares about her. But if he gets caught and gets disbarred, then that little lifestyle that you claim that you wanted to have and this high society, that's gonna all go up in smoke too. So, okay, so now he's throwing it back and forth, like, do I compromise, or do I compromise my morals and my ethics, or do I want put my family back together? And so he is going through that. Okay, so Dixie, so we're back at the school, and Dixie is going through the daggone cafeteria, screaming like a banshee with a bullhorn, basically saying that she's been cyberbullied by Patty, and she walks over to Patty and slaps the shit out of Patty. And I'm thinking, oh my God, so Patty sat there for a minute, and she got up and she slapped the piss out of Dixie. And some ignorant student stood up and said, lesbian bitch fight. And so all, this stupid teenage stuff. And of course, Dixie's like, no, this is not a lesbian bitch fight. It's a regular bitch fight. So I'm going to teach people. And so she goes over to kiss Choi, I guess, so people won't associate her with being a lesbian. And Choi basically like, get the hell off me. Like, I'm tired of you using me, for whatever. And so he walks away, and she's standing there looking stupid. And so Patty ends up sitting with Magnolia because they made plans to meet up, and they come up with this brilliant idea to get her back. She has to be associated with some philanthropy work, and so because now people think that she's a lesbian, they was like, okay, so you could do because it's the obesity. It's some kind of clinic in the town that deals with obesity. And so they said she was like, okay, so you can raise money for that. And so they come up with a bikini dog wash. okay, have you ever heard of such a thing? But that's what they came up with, a bikini dog wash, and they was all good. They was all for it. And so Patty ends up going to the computer club to see if they can figure out how this text was allegedly sent from her phone, even though she didn't send it. And so they wanted to have a deal with her that if they helped her out, that she would go on a date with them, with all of them. And so she was like, okay, that's disgusting. It's not even worth all that. No, thank you. And so Christian is in the lab as well. And he basically said, you know what, I can help you if you help me, because he knows that Bob Armstrong is Patty's coach. And so he wants her, if you're able to get him, because he overheard the conversation with his parents about Bob throwing the case and him actually doing some jail time. And so now he wants Patty to convince Bob to not throw the case, to get him to work out some deal with the DA so he could get off, in exchange for him trying to help her figure out who sent this text. And so she went with him. So Bob is actually on his way to go meet, Bob Armstrong is on his way to go meet with Bob Barnard to discuss Christian's case when Patty shows up. But of course, she's the last person he wants to see. And she, basically, she's all loud as hell, like his office door is open, and she's like, well, why are you throwing Christian's case? And that, and so of course he's like, what are you talking about? He runs to close the door. And she was basically telling him that Christian offered to help me figure out who sent this text so that I can get reinstated with Miss Magic Jesus if you work something out with Bob with no jail time, whatever. And he was basically like, he said, so she asked him, are you going to throw the case? He said, well, I don't know. And like, I'm only in this situation because of you. And basically your bullshit about, you telling my wife about the affair and the whole thing. This situation all came about because of you. And so he walks out, and as he's walking out, she was like, well, I talked to Brick, and he basically feels like you're not there for him, or that. And so he basically sends Bob a text because he felt like talking to Brick was more important at the time. So he pushed his meeting back with Bob Barnard so he can go and talk to Brick first. Okay, so flash to Brick. Brick is doing his community service at the LGBTQ organization, and he starts talking to I don't know if the guy considers himself trans or drag, but he's basically saying, my life is a mess, and my girlfriend broke up with me because I cheated on her with somebody else. And basically the woman was telling him that, well, why did you cheat? Did she make you unhappy? Could you not talk to her? And he's like, I don't know why I did it, and I wish I could undo it. And basically this parting words were, you can't unring a bell. So regardless of whether something was a mistake or not, or whether you meant to do something, it's done. The damage is done. You can't go back. There's no do-overs. And so Brick is back at home. Bob is there, and they're talking, and he basically tells his father how he feels, and Bob realizes that he's treating Brick the same way his father treated him. And they talk, and they have a heart-to-heart. And so Brick was like, okay, so what is going on with you and Mom? And so he tells him, and he basically tries to reassure Brick that he's doing everything he can to fix the situation so that his mom can come home. So they're Nonnie and Patty is bikini shopping, and I guess Patty was in there a lot longer than needed to be, and so Nonnie goes in, and Patty is just a crumpled up mess. She's very emotional because, again, in her mind, she's still fatty Patty, even though she's lost the weight, and she's she is what she wants to be, but she just can't see it yet because her mind is still, when she looks in the mirror, she still sees the overweight Patty. And then she's upset about, her reactions to what she did with Bob and how she treated Nonnie. And, she's just having so now they're having a heart-to-heart. And you can tell, okay, Nonnie hasn't really come to terms with her sexuality. She doesn't really consider herself a lesbian. And so they have a heart-to-heart. And she made a comment about her sexuality, and the Patty was like, I know you better than anybody. If you were a lesbian, I would know. And Nonnie kind of sat there, and she knows that something is off, but she just hasn't come to terms with it yet. Even though she knows she has feelings for Patty, she doesn't consider herself a lesbian. So, where are we now? Okay, so Bob Armstrong meets with Bob Barnard about the Chris situation. And initially, Bob Barnard was like, okay, he's a first-time offender. We're going to do a small fine and community service, and we're just going to move on. But Bob Armstrong was like, yeah, there's no reason to ruin 2 lives. And he's like, who else? And he said, he's claiming that he was holding the drugs for Magnolia. And so now, of course, Bob Barnard's like, oh, no, he's a menace to society. We need to get his ass off the street. So Bob Armstrong achieved what he wanted to for him to get some jail time, which is what his parents wanted. So Bob, okay. Oh, my handwriting is atrocious. Oh, okay. So after they have the he makes a decision for Bob to do for Chris to do some jail time. Bob Barnard mentioned Coralee. So apparently, when she left Bob Armstrong, she went to Bob Barnard for a place to stay, which is of course Bob Armstrong's his arch rival in his mind. And he was like, yeah, maybe she just needed a real man. He made some slick comment to Bob Armstrong, and so because Bob Armstrong jacked him up all up on the wall and was basically like, what the hell with this? So now he's pissed at Coralee. Because he's like, all the people you could have gone to, that's who you went to. But once you wrong somebody, you don't have the right to set boundaries for how they retaliate. And that's a lesson. People feel like things are over the top and over the line and you didn't have to do that. Well, you drew first blood. And so people are going to do what they can to strike back. So there you go. But anyway, Bob Armstrong is pissed off. And so he is so pissed off that he contacts Patty, and he's going to decide to continue to work with her to help her out of the situation. So Patty gets to his house before he gets home, but Brick is there. And so Brick basically was like, I don't appreciate you, going behind my back and talking to my dad. And of course, Patty was very apologetic. I don't know my father. And so I feel like, as long as you guys are talking, and that's a plus, but I am sorry I should not have gone behind your back. And so you can see that they're, again, continue to develop a friendship. And Bob gets home, and he basically tells her that I'm still pissed at you, but I'm more upset at Coralee. And she was like, well, why? He started to tell her, he's like, that's not important. But going forward, my personal life is off limits to you. And so she tells him about the bikini dog wash. He was like, is that a thing? And so so he basically said that since he's already got Bob Barnard to go for jail time for Christian, he now has to get him to change his mind in order for this guy to help Patty find out who sent the text. And so he now has to go back to him, and he was like, okay, well, so Magnolia is at home. She's trying on bikinis for the little thing, and Dixie barges in her room, like, how could you help her after what she did to me? And basically, Magnolia's like, girl, I ain't here for you. I ain't checking for you. I don't give a damn what happens to you. Get out of my face. Get out of my room. Get out of my house. Basically, just leave me the hell alone. And so Dixie leaves, and Bob, he comes in. He found her stash. So she is taking something. And so they have a little moment where she's just tired of always having to be perfect. She feels like, I can't leave the house without looking like a supermodel. I can't get a bad grade. Like, I can't be a normal teenager because I have to always keep up this facade. And he basically was like, your mama's never here, and I'm really sorry. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult for you to live up to my standards are high. He, talked about it. And after you win Miss Magic Jesus and Miss American Lady, then we'll get you the help you need. So everything that she just said basically went over his head. She's telling you that she is having a problem, and your response is, we'll deal with it after after this. And so while they're having a conversation, he gets a text from Bob to come so they can talk and finish up about the whole Christian thing. And so they meet, and he was like, basically, wants to give Bob Barnard a heads up that he's going to have to call Magnolia to the stand to testify about the drugs since she was mentioned. And so, of course, Bob Barnard is not going to go for that. You know, he doesn't want his reputation and his name, his family, the stain on his family. So he eventually agreed just to do the fine and the community service. Okay, done. So now they're sitting up talking to Christian, and Christian, they find out that Christian lied. He couldn't help her, but in the conversation that Bob had with the mom about her wanting him to throw the case, she told him that her son was a slick SOB and that he was full of shit. But I guess they figured that was their only option, so he tried to do it anyway, and that's when they realized that he was full of shit. He could never really help her. He just wanted to get what he can get out of the situation, which was to not do any jail time. And he walked away. He just basically wiped things up and walked away. And so, Regina's in jail for the statutory rape charge, and one of her cellmates has a burner phone, and she gave Dixie that number. So the phone is ringing, and the phone is Dixie calling for Magnolia for vagina, and so this is where you find out that Dixie actually took the photo, and Regina's cellmate is tech savvy, so she was able to hack Patty's phone and send the picture from to incriminate Patty. So that's how that all went down. So Bob finds out that one of her cellmates has a disability, and so he goes and he makes a deal with. It was so funny because this woman is not the most attractive person, and so Bob walks in and she thinks that Bob is there for a conjugal visit. So she all up on him trying to get some nookie, and he's like, "I'm an attorney and I'm here on business, girl. I'm not trying to, girl. If you don't get your ass off me." So they sit and talk. He makes a deal with her. He gave her a little makeover, and she turned on vagina, which didn't go well because once vagina found out, she beat the hell out of old girl for turning on her. But anyway, Bob already got the evidence he needed to exonerate Patty. Patty was reinstated, so now she's able to participate in the Miss Magic Jesus pageant. So now it's the day of the bikini dog wash. So Dixie, so they're all in their bikinis except Patty, even though Nobody's like, this is your event, you have to participate. And she's got her shorts and her top on. She's still not comfortable with her body. So Dixie shows up as and was like, she's had sunscreen and all this as just to keep the peace or whatever. And I'm thinking this bitch is up to something. And sure enough, so they all spraying themselves with this sunscreen. She put bacon grease in the sunscreen. So of course the dogs are going wild. They're attacking the people, trying to lick the bacon grease sunscreen. It's just a whole hot mess. So people is playing the money, people running around, and it's like a hot mess, right? And so Dixie drives off, and Brick is like, well, what are we gonna do now to fix this situation? And so Brick is like, I know some women who wanted to participate. And so he called the women from the LGBTQ, the trans, and I think the woman just talked to him as a drag queen. They showed up and showed out, and it was all good. And so Brick and Magnolia, they're having a conversation, and she was like, I just never thought you talking to former fat people and the LGBTQ. She said, I have to say I'm quite impressed. And so he said, yeah, I wanted to, do what I could to help Patty. And so she got like, what do you mean help Patty? Oh, so you mean this wasn't for me? He was like, this is her event. So why do you always have to make things about you? And of course she got offended. It was like, if you want to hang out with Patty, then go hang out with her. Just leave me, don't bother me. Da, da, da. So she walks away. And then you see Nomi. She's talking to a young lady who's a member of the LGBTQ, and the lady was basically telling Nomi about basically their mirror experiences about how she didn't know that she was gay. She didn't think that she was gay, even though she was attracted to women. And she was obsessed with her best friend. And it wasn't until she saw her best friend with a guy that it almost killed her, because she eventually had to come to terms with her sexuality. And it's the same situation that Nomi's in right now. And so Patty is in the bathroom. She eventually decides she's going to put on the bikini. So she got the bikini on, but she has to cover up. And there's a trans woman in the bathroom also who's also dealing with body image issues. And so they agreed to be, to go out together and just to be brave, right? To show the world, who they really are. And so initially they did at first, but then the self-consciousness, so once they got out, so they covered themselves up. And Bob walks over and tells her how he's proud of her and how he's still upset, but that she was reinstated and everything is all good. And Brick walks up and Brick walked up to Bob and was like, "Well, Mom said apparently what you were supposed to do didn't work because Mom is still upset." And eventually Bob was about to say something, but he was like, "You know what? Never mind. I don't want you to get into the middle of this. This is between you and me and your mom, and we're going to figure this out." And so he walks off, and so Brick and Patty, they're standing having a conversation. And then Brick eventually asks Patty out for coffee, like on a date. And so he ends up kissing her. And so Nomi is standing there devastated, basically like what the lady that she had spoken to, the same situation. And then Magnolia sees the kiss. So now Magnolia is like, okay, wait a minute. I did all of this to help you out. I befriended you. I my time, invested my time and energy and all this. And so now she was already pissed at Brick, but now she's pissed at Patty as well. So we're going to see what happens in the next episode. So I'm going to end this here and I will talk to you guys later.